sense, noticing what you do, and then trying to figure out what that is. So you'll have fantasies about the ideal. That often happens in a romantic relationship, especially at the beginning of it. Because you project your idealization onto the person that you're romantically attracted to. That's the projection of an archetype. So Jung would say, the woman will project an animus onto the man. The animus is her conceptualization of what the ideal man is. It's unconscious because it's rooted in fantasy. And the man will be in concordance with that projection in some areas. Those are the areas where she likes him, by the way. And will be discordant in other areas. And that's the areas where she constantly disappoints him as the relationship develops. So the projection is there in part to help the person understand who it is that they're dealing with, because when you meet someone, you have to assume something about them. It's the same as projection. You have to assume something about them.
Okay, Jordan Peterson makes a lot of interesting points here. He talks about archetypes, anima, animus, projection, ideals. So basically in the analytical psychology of Carl Gustav Jung, he has a concept of the collective unconscious, that at a deep level we're all deeply connected, and that symbolic elements are present everywhere. And so inside every man is an ideal woman, inside every woman is an ideal man. So the kind of opposite side of our psyche. So in a way that when we fall in love with somebody, we're really falling in love with an idealized version of ourselves. Often the person we fall in love with, the lover that we fall in love with, represents some aspect within ourselves, but the opposite aspect. So in other words, there's an attempt for completion, and we try and figure this out romantically. And also that there's a tendency for ideals, because this is always an idyllic, a perfect something we're looking for. And the other idea is that there's a projection involved. And the projection is that, apart from romance, just in general, when I meet somebody initially, I have to have a projection, because I'm basically constructing that person in my mind, because I don't know that person. I construct that person. And one thing you might observe yourself as well is that when you meet somebody at the first time or two, you might find that when you remember them almost seeming to be like somebody else that you already know, which is basically that your mind is working through associations. So we basically have to create a projection of people, and that's fine, but we should realize that when we meet people initially, largely we're projecting, and we'll get to know the real person later, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.